Previously.
This is actually Gojo, but only his body. Now I think Yuta might have used Wiwi's technique to swipe Yuta damaged body with Gojo's corpse. Yeah, he's not a body anymore. That was partially healed. Hello everyone, this is Rui with chapter 261 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Man, this chapter is made a lot of people angry. A lot of people lost their mind, especially Gojo fans, saying Gege is finished, this is bad writing, a lot of bullshit, and I love it. This is what I live for. Gojo fans are in disarray, and I get why. Your boy got opened, used. It's nuts. It's nuts what they did to him. But let's just get to the chapter. This week's chapter started off just like last one ended, with Yuji trying to snatch Sukuna's heart and Sukuna almost unleashing his domain expansion. But then we see a silhouette of presumably Gojo, but of course it's Yuta. And Sukuna started laughing, proceeding to bitch slap Yuji out of the way. I swear, Gege does not like this man at all. But then Sukuna apologized to Yuta, saying that he didn't expect him to go this far. And then we jump into a flashback. Basically, it takes the whole chapter. It starts with the group discussing their plan if everything goes wrong. And Panda explained that if Satoru dies, Rika can consume Kenjaku and absorb his technique. Then Yuta can swipe over to Gojo's body. By doing so, it will increase the likelihood of them beating Sukuna. In the previous chapter review, I mentioned my theory being Yuta will be in Gojo's body using Wiwi's technique. And now that I read this chapter, it makes more sense if he uses Kenjaku's technique. Continuing with the chapter, Kasekabe brings up the idea of why not just eat Gojo's body and obtains Limitless. But Shoko points out that it's useless without the 6 eyes, and that the 6 eyes cannot be copied because it's a physical attribute. Meme then proceeds to explain the 3 possibilities that would happen if Yuta overtakes Gojo's body using Kenjaku's technique. The first possibility is Kenjaku's ability requires constant activation. In this case, the body and the soul won't be able to maintain it, which will result in Yuta's death. The second possibility is Kenjaku's ability is activated intermittently, meaning he won't die immediately, but it will just be a matter of time. The third possibility, which is likely to happen, is Kenjaku's ability need only to be activated once. Even after the 5 minutes, Yuta will be able to use the Limitless technique, which would result in him not needing his previous body, as he will be stuck inside of Gojo's body. Yuta says that he does not mind the third option, as even if Rika is not fully manifested, he will be able to copy his abilities inside his domain, and he wants to face Sukuna first before taking over Gojo's body. Maki says that she does not like this plan one bit. Yuta says that he is getting ticked off, and no matter how you look at it, it is what they should do. Kasekabe says that he is worried about what might happen to Yuta as a person, and Yuta then mentioned that they are going against Sukuna, the strongest sorcerer in history, and that throwing just their humanity is a small price to defeat him. Maki says that Yuta is important to all of them. Yuta proceeds to snap on all of them, saying that what about Gojo? Why no one is concerned about him dying or turning into a monster, and that taking the place of him will have to come from someone from this group, and he is the one that will take up this mantle. I really like that Gege added this part in the chapter, as Gojo is not usually looked at as a person. Most of the time he is looked at as a weapon. We saw that when Kenjaku met the president, they were talking about him being able to power up a whole city. But even when someone asks his students what they think about him, all of them just mentioned him being the strongest. We jump a little bit of time where Yuta is asking Gojo if he is okay with the plan, and Gojo replies with he doesn't care, as he is going to win against Sukuna. Well, but he is pissed off as Shoko did not have any problem with it, which is kind of understandable. I don't know why Shoko doesn't give a fuck about anyone, she just doesn't care. Yuta tells Gojo that he was told that he is a descendant of the Fujiwara, not the Sugawara, like him, like Gojo. And Gojo says that he is a descendant of the Sugawara clan because they are distant relatives. Yuta says that maybe Yoro was confused, but Gojo says that maybe both of them were right. Gojo then proceeds to tell Yuta that he was born more blessed than him, and he should take advantage of that. We find out that this chapter is around the time Gojo killed all the higher-ups, and he tells Maki, Panda, Yuta, and useless Anamaki that they can head back as he does not want them to see a gruesome view. Man, telling that to Maki is kind of funny. But they refuse, and Gojo is kind of emotionally moved, I guess. Yuta tells Gojo that he does not need to bear the burden of being a monster alone, but Gojo talked to himself saying there is nothing that can be done about it, and that back then when Geto left him, he was left in the dust, and he's just catching up. We go to Shoko and Yuji's group where we see Ren explaining his technique, where he can amplify sugar in his body and manifested it. Shuko asked Rin if he is able to transfer the sugar into people, and he confirmed he can. Shuko made him join the medical team where he will supply them with sugar to keep them awake, I guess. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But we move on in time and we see Yuta after Sukuna's cut him in half. Arata mentioned that his technique won't let his wounds be any worse, but he cannot heal him as he got split into two, same way as Gojo, and healing that is beyond Yuta's reverse curse technique, let alone his technique. Yuta says that he's only conscious because of Rika, but he is reaching his limit. Shuko mentioned that she already fixed Gojo's body up and Yuta will need to use his reverse curse technique to finish the reattachment once they swipe body. And we are now back from the flashback, and we see Sukuna and Yuta opening their domain expansion. The narrators ask, how does one counter Sukuna's open barrier domain? By Gojo Satoru's hand, the solution is revealed yet again. With Yuta using a limited void and Sukuna using a malevolent shrine, the chapters end. Now, what will happen next chapter? It's gonna be interesting because both of them opened their domain expansion, so I guess next chapter is gonna be like the result of that domain expansion, which one won this domain battle. But after that, I would guess that Yuji, Todo, and Gojo, or Yuta in Gojo's body, will team up to fight Sukuna. Now, is this too much? I feel like this is the final matchup where Sukuna is gonna get defeated now. I don't see how he will be able to defeat Yuta in Gojo's body, Yuji, and Todo. I guess we're gonna see next chapter. Overall, this chapter is nice, a bit too much flashback, but of course to explain all what's happening we needed that, so I would give the chapter an 8.5 out of 10. And we are on break next week, so I guess we